Shalom. Good stock again. Hey, took a little break there and probably going to be on break a little bit more. I'm looking into some pretty interesting things that are coming up. But this is a quick video and a challenge to all the people who call themselves prophets and so-called voices of God. Watched a few YouTube channels and oh my gosh, the stuff that I've seen and heard on there, and they even contradict themselves over and over and over. And you know, Paul makes this profound statement where he says, whether there be tongues, they shall cease, whether it be prophecy, they shall end. Now, he was talking to a group of people that was right there alive right then. So if he wasn't talking about the church coming to its adulthood out of its infancy, okay, then exactly what was he talking about? Because, I mean, let's use a little logic. Come, let us reason together. If I told you, don't go in your front yard because in 2,000 years, there's going to be a flood and it will kill you. Well, you'd look at me like I'd lost my mind, which probably would need medication at that point. But here's what I'm saying, is Paul was saying something that was directly relevant to those people in that day at that time. It wasn't one of those things where, hey, I'm going to write this down in a letter and think that in 2016 they're going to read that. That's just, that was not the mindset of Paul at all. He was talking about real legitimate events that were going to happen to the people he was talking to at that time. Okay, so here's my challenge. And I find that most of these so-called prophets and prophetesses come from like the New Reformed Church, the Pentecostal Church, the Apostolic Church, and all that stuff that John Darby started in the 1800s. Okay, I'm sorry, people, but if you're Pentecostal, your religion is the only two religions newer than yours would be the Jehovah's Witness and the Mormons. And of course, you know, the Seventh-day Adventists came off of that branch, and I think mainly because they just didn't agree on basic doctrine beliefs, and that caused a split. But here, let's go look at something just for a minute. You people who put up all of these prophecies, you all hear from God more than Moses, Elijah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, put together. Really? Let me ask you something. Have you all ever looked up a concept called sola scriptura? Now that was started after the canonization. Okay, so do I like the canonization as it was put together by Constantine and Arius and all those? No, not exactly. And I think a lot of the translations are meant to point Christians towards a pagan Trinitarian view of Adonai. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Even the early church fathers agreed on this concept called sola scriptura, which meant all the prophecy that was needed for mankind was already assembled and written down. And if you go think about it, even Revelations, you can find everything in Revelations I can find in the Old Testament. Challenge me. I dare you to challenge me, because there is nothing in the New Testament that was not already written in the Old. So for you all who have all these prophetic, huge wow aha moments and visitations from God, you know, send me your prophecies. Let's hear what you got to say, and then we're going to take that and we're going to compare it to the Word, and we're going to find out whether you really hear from God or not. Because you know what? I doubt it. I just do not see it. And it is not written anywhere. Okay? And here's the passage most will use. That in that day your sons and daughters shall prophesy, you know, and the dreaming dreams and seeing visions. And yeah, that was pertaining. Peter even said, hey, you know what? The day that the prophet Joel spoke of is today. That was on the day of Pentecost. Okay? And Paul goes on, like I said, to make this profound statement about prophecies and tongues and all these other things. People, look, here's something you got to remember, is as it was. Okay? So when we look at as it was, well, what happened at Babylon? Everyone spoke the same language. So God confused their language. Now we have this thing that I'm on right now called the internet, and you have Google Translator and everything. And guess what? We're Babylon again, the entire earth. Because again, now we can use that and speak one language to each other through our own. It is actually, if you want to think about it, because the gift of tongues, if you remember, the true gift was not so much in the speaking, but in the hearing. Now think about that for a minute. When it said they spoke with cloven tongues, that means that cloven means split. Okay? So one person would be talking in their language, but the hearer would hear in their own language if it wasn't their language. Now, I know a lot of people are going to argue about that, but hey, look, let's go to the Bible. I'll be glad to debate that with you. It's just people, I can't believe what people are believing these days. It's crazy, it's ludicrous, and quite honestly, a lot of it really hurt me and knocked me off the path for a little bit. And when I finally came to my senses and got back into the Word and started to see what it had to say about it, I realized, you know what? These people are they just don't know what they don't know. Okay? So there's my challenge. If you think you're a prophet or a prophetess, all right, visit my channel. Tell me what the Lord's told you to say, and we'll compare that to the Word. Let it flow. Let's hear from you. I dare you to put forth a prophecy from God on my channel that you just heard. And the reason I dare you is we're going to compare that to what is written. Okay? So don't get your feelings hurt when you get blown out of the water and you're stripped down. I've just had it happen to me personally. Okay? I had to be stripped down. I had to think about where I was at and where I was headed. And it hurt. Oh, wow, it hurt. But let me tell you this. None of us are perfect, okay? But the Word is. And it doesn't need to be defended, just spoken. Just as Yeshua did in the garden, in the wilderness. When Hasatan comes to him with all these temptations, he didn't come up with anything new. What did he say? For it is written, and then he spoke what was written. Not a new thing. Something that was even ancient to him as flesh goes. Now, as far as the God part of him, no, he was the Word in the flesh. But in the body, this was something that was spoken long ago. It was actually something he already spoke, if you think about it. If you understand God as one and not three that make one, you'll understand that those were the words already spoken. And no, I'm not a Jesus-only person. No, not even close. And I invite those people to come to me with their questions and debates or whatever, But there it is. I'm laying it out there. Prophets and prophetesses. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see exactly what you know and what you don't know. All right. Love you all. Have a great day. Shalom.